Welcome back, friends.
Welcome back.
It's time for another episode, a Strange and Beautiful Book Club episode, a Strange and Beautiful Book Club movie episode, where we continue to explore the works of William Eubanks. In this case,
His 2014 sci-fi.
offering The Signal.
Yet another generically named movie.
William. This isn't specifically to you, but it's a PSA for everyone who makes these movies. Please, for the love of fucking God, give them a distinct title so that we can find them. I think there's actually another movie called The Signal.
There's at least 2, maybe 3 movies called Signal.
Yeah.
And there's at least 2 movies called
The
Signal.
Signal. Yeah.
So it was hard to find this movie.
Yeah. It was. But here we are, and we watched it.
We persevered.
It was easier to find than Love.
That's true.
Yeah, Love I had to Google, figure out what service it was on, go to that service, search for it, knowing I was going to be able to find it, and go through the results until I got to it. Well, we watched The Signal. This one had a quadruple the budget. No, more
Well,
than
before
that.
we get too far.
Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to the Strange and Beautiful Book Club. I'd say we would start doing that right at the beginning so we won't forget, but I don't know. I feel like we're old
I think
dogs,
we'll forget.
and that's too new of a trick. So this budget was $4 million. I just said that's 4 times the $500,000 budget. That is not correct.
8
times. So he had a lot more to work with, and I think he spent approximately $6 million on Lawrence Fishburne and
Definitely.
space suits and slow motion cameras. I'm beginning to notice some trademarks here.
Yeah.
Extreme face close-ups and slow motion scenes.
Yes.
We'll have to see if that carries through to Underwater, which is the next one. This starred Brenton Thwaites.
Who's moved on to some other things?
Yeah, all of these people have gone on. Actually, most of them have gone on and at least been in other stuff, whether it's big stuff or not. Olivia Cooke was in Ready Player One. She was Artemis. Bo Knapp has been in like a bunch of Law and Order episodes. So that's basically success. I mean, he's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he a recurring character?
I'm not sure. I didn't get that far. But when he's not wearing the get-up, he's far more marketable. I don't know how to put that. I don't know how to put that delicately.
Conventionally attractive?
Conventionally attractive, yeah. This is an interesting movie. It uses my least favorite character type, which is the precocious I-know-it-all teenager who's trying to put one over on the evil adults that are trying to keep them down. It's not my favorite. It's right up there. It's right up there with the douchebag dude who rules his douchebag post-apocalyptic kingdom, and he keeps the hero from being able to do what they need to do because I'm a douchebag dude and I don't want to give up my douchebag kingdom. They're about on par, I think. And then
I think one becomes the other in the right situation.
Right. And in this situation, we actually get 2 precocious teenage dudes who know it all and
who egg each other on.
And are trying to stop the adults from, I don't know,
oppressing them.
Oppressing them with data or what, I don't know what. I mean, the setup is a little bit, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't know. It's not great.
I really appreciated in the beginning of the movie when they're talking about hacking stuff and showing like computer screen.
Yeah.
Like log output. It's not implausible.
Right.
So, although some of the things might be redundant, like open up your computer and open a Linux terminal. He would know that his computer was running Linux. So he could just say, open up your computer and open a terminal.
Yeah. Meh.
But yeah, most people don't know.
Right.
What
You got to
Linux
throw
is.
enough
So,
technical jargon in there for people to be like, ooh, computer stuff. Like they're doing real fancy computer stuff.
although they mentioned using Nmap, which is a tool that is used for hacking because it can scan open network ports and tell you what versions of things are running that are actually listening on those ports. It's an actual tool you would use, and then the terminal output that's on the screen is what you would see if you ran Nmap and scanned for open ports. So, kudos.
Excellent.
One of the most realistic hacking scenes that I've ever seen in literally any movie
Ever.
ever.
Yeah. We should watch Hackers someday. With Angelina Jolie.
Sure.
And they have the laptops where the screen is actually only like 4 inches by 5 inches in the middle of the lid. Anyway, you probably felt the same way about most hacking scenes, the way I felt about the pottery element of
In
the invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we're going to do the invitation someday just so I can fucking go off on how poorly they did that. But that's fine. You know what? I got to find my happy place because it's not what we're talking about. I was reading through some reviews to kind of try to get a handle on how I felt about this movie. And was it like commensurate with how other people were feeling about this movie? And this was another one where you either love it or you hate it.
I watched this soon after it came out, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a great movie.
Yeah.
But it was a well done movie.
Yeah.
In the gradual reveal of kind of the scope of what was happening.
Right.
There was actually just kind of a continuous increase in the severity, the
what the fuckness?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a good word for it.
Of what was happening. Yeah, it is. It's fine. I didn't really get a good grasp on how I felt about this movie thanks to the reviews because they were wildly unhelpful. But one guy did have a review where he didn't add stars. He just added a review, which I thoroughly appreciated. And it was basically like, well, why are there so many people here just to complain about this movie? Are you getting paid to come complain about this movie? Because this movie is fine. Why did you? I feel the same way about most. Like if I'm on a 4 out of 5 range or a 3 out of 5 range, I'm probably not going to go find the movie and rate it. If I felt it had problematic parts of it, like problematic representation or problematic whatever, I will go and do a low rating just to be like, to express that I felt it was problematic.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, meh, you're not going to get a rating from me because meh.
Right. Response bias.
Yeah. Meh doesn't feel like a reason for me to like seek out the review and make a meh review about something. And that was basically his point, was like, guys, it's a low budget, or it's a small budget sci-fi movie. It's fine. It's not a master's thesis, is what he said. He was like, it's not a master's thesis. It's just fun. So just relax and enjoy it. And it's basically just relax and enjoy it. I think my main issue is just, this is my least favorite kind of character. And not only do we have 2 of these characters, but we combine them with a Mary Sue, who very quickly becomes just the plot device.
Right.
Which is Haley, one of the characters' girlfriends.
The MacGuffin.
Sort of girlfriends. She agrees to have them help her drive across country, but knowing the one is using it as an excuse to break up with her.
Right. They're dating, but she realizes that he's going to try to break up with her.
I know. She's like a Mary Sue.
He has some kind of condition.
Yeah.
Some kind of...
Which we don't get an explanation for.
Chronic... What's the word?
I don't know. Some kind of degenerative disease.
Degenerative.
Yeah. Where he now is using, like... They're
crutches.
Not crutches. They're they have a different name, but they're the like arm braces that you use to walk, to add strength to your legs. But I mean, whatever. She's kind of like a Mary Sue and a MacGuffin all rolled into one. It's like, look, here's the girl you're going to do shit for. Da 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 da. So very early on, she's like, I know what you're going to do. You're going to break up with me. This is all some elaborate ruse to give me like one last trip with you, and then you're going to go. And he's like, but no. But no. And so she like takes her necklace off and tries to hand it back to him, and he won't take it because it must be something special between the two of them. So she just tosses it off the cliff.
Into the canyon.
And prior to this, he's at a gas station. It's like the first time we see him. And this character is trying to use the claw machine to grab this little kid, just trying to use the claw machine to grab stuffies out of the claw machine. And this is supposed to be an allusion to what's about to happen to them.
Oh, what? Grabbed from the sky?
Yeah. In a little glass bowl.
Yoinked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of William Eubank, I guess, intended to have a lot of misdirection, a lot of how soon are they in the Matrix kind of thing, which it's kind of interesting because immediately they're riding. One of them gets like a text from Nomad that says, "Are you agitated?"
Yeah, email.
Yeah. No, they don't get an email. They get or does he find the email on his phone? Because then they pull up their laptop and they're emailing him back.
Yeah.
They're emailing Nomad back.
But right as they leave the gas station, they see this bridge.
Right.
Spanning the canyon. And you see the same bridge when they're traveling on the one road.
Yeah.
That exists wherever they end up.
So how soon are they in the...
Are they already
there? Because they get out their laptop and they hack it. Can we hack it? Oh, we should do a Cobra. What's the one with the guy gets bitten by a cobra and struck by lightning at the same time?
Kung Fury.
They're
making a second one.
I think they made the second one.
Did it already come out?
I don't know, but there's
they made a video game.
There's Hacker Man, and he's like, I can hack it. So they hack it. And this is the part where they use Linux and the power of hacking to be able to figure out where this signal is coming from. So they follow the signal to this little house. The worst part of this is they are driving his girlfriend's car.
November. Kung Fury 2.
Nice. They are driving his girlfriend's car, taking her to some predetermined destination, and they're basically like, yeah, we're taking your car and we're taking you, and we're tracking down this mystery man that was able to hack into our laptop and watch us from the laptop.
At a hotel. And then was able to get a picture of your car on a security camera. And now we're going to hunt him down all by ourselves because we're teenage mediocre white dudes and we think we can do whatever the fuck we want, and it's not going to get... We are absolutely untouchable. And they're going to drop her off, and she's like, no, I want to meet this guy, which is bullshit. No woman is going to say that. Every woman in this situation is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is my car. If you want to go meet him, fine. Go grab an Uber. I'll see you later. Bye. If it's her car, how are they going to get back? Are they going to fly back?
I don't know. They don't get that far. This isn't that kind of movie. Because for some reason...
explaining things, explaining the backstory, clarifying the world building is not this movie. It is
not that movie. Because they get to this house and it's clearly abandoned. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to go check it out, see what's in there. And waits in the car after all of that. So they get out their camera and they're recording themselves going around. And they get down in the basement and they find an empty server rack. And then they hear something. I didn't hear what they heard, but all of a sudden they're like, Haley! And they run out of the house and she's not in the car and all the doors are open and the radio is just scanning through the channels. And then they turn towards the bush and we see her for a second and then she gets...
stuck in a beam of light.
Yeah, yoinked up. Okay. I mean, that's the setup.
Yeah.
If I was Haley, I'd be like, fuck you! You did this!
Like, IP address geolocation?
Yeah.
Is not super reliable.
Right. Yeah. They even say that. They're like, they're probably using this as a pass-through, or this is probably a...
Or just turning an IP address into an address is like... it's all self-reported.
Yeah.
So, what you can end up doing is some like routers have GPS built in,
Yeah.
and they will report GPS, whatever, just to get an idea. But it's mostly done by the ISPs. The ISPs will say this block of IP addresses is for this region.
Yeah.
And so most of the time, all you can do is narrow it down to maybe a city,
Right.
maybe like a quarter of a state in the US.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, you need self-reported GPS coordinates.
Correct.
So for them to just very quickly and confidently narrow this down to an actual residential address is extremely suspicious.
Utter bullshit.
Bullshit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If they did a geolocation IP address lookup for the IP address that Nomad was hacking from, and they immediately got an exact residential address, that's a red flag.
It should have been.
Somebody would have had to actually report that
Yeah.
deliberately. So that IP address could be literally anywhere on the planet,
Right.
but report itself as here.
Correct.
So
Well, you know why
that
they don't
means
question it?
they don't actually understand how all this stuff
They do,
works.
but they're mediocre, semi-intelligent white dudes who've been told they're gifted their entire lives, and they don't fucking question their own brilliance.
I'm a mediocre, semi-intelligent white dude who's been criticized for not being good enough my entire life. So
You would immediately
I've
question
been
it.
I've been conditioned to always question my initial reactions to things because he just needs to try harder.
Hooray, growing up neurodivergent in the 90s. So here we are with this setup, which is not my favorite setup, but here we are. And then we get to the cool part, which is
Yes.
he
Now we
wakes
get
up.
to the fun part.
Yeah. I wish we gotten here in a way that caught my interest a little bit better, but that's okay. Here we are. And he's talking to Lawrence Fishburne, which we saw his profile. It's like like a part of his nose and his chin and his forehead in this spacesuit. And Matt goes, "Is that Lawrence Fishburne?" I would just like you to know we identified Lawrence Fishburne by approximately a quarter inch of skin.
He has a distinctive cheek.
He does have a distinctive cheek. I was like, I think that is Lawrence Fishburne. And they pan around and it's like, surprise, Lawrence Fishburne. And he's trying to write with a ballpoint pen and it's not working, which I guess is supposed to be a initial illusion that they might not be on Earth because ballpoint pens don't work in space.
Ballpoint pens
Listen.
don't work in space. When
I read the IMDb trivia.
when you're in
okay?
orbit,
Yeah.
if you can feel gravity, like a resistance to gravity, like you're standing on something that's holding you up, ballpoint pens work.
Yeah.
If you're in free fall, like quote unquote zero gravity, that's when ballpoint pens don't work.
Right.
But
Listen.
okay, from a from a low resolution
Yeah.
sci-fi perspective, okay,
Yeah.
I can see how that could be intended as an allusion
Right.
to them being in space. Okay,
Yes.
sure.
You know what this feels like to me? A slightly less successful version of sci-fi mindfuck of Pandorum.
Okay,
Like where Pandorum is what the fuck is happening the entire time. And you feel very unsettled, like what the fuck is happening the entire time. And I think William Eubank was going for that, but I think he was going for periods of, oh, I think I've got it. Followed by, oh, snap, I don't got it.
more of an up and down in your confidence in your worldview.
Right. And I think maybe that choice wasn't, for me, didn't have the same sort of effect because I was like, oh, okay, another twist. All right, well, what's the next twist going to be? When I'm in it and I know we're going to be twisty-turny, it's fine. But when I'm like, oh, I can't, okay, you're just luring me into comfort right now. I don't. I don't know, because at first he wants to contact his parents. Okay, here we are probably at the root of my actual problem, which is the uncooperative nature of this kid. He is a child. He is in an unsettled situation, and he is immediately combative.
He has successfully navigated the, I don't know, power hierarchy, resulting in him going to MIT.
Right.
There's a lot of bureaucracy that you have to cooperate with to get into a high tier school like that.
Yeah.
For him to have successfully navigated his way into MIT, but then face some extra bureaucracy because he's in this facility, and his gut instinct is to just be an asshole.
Yeah.
And resist the bureaucracy is not especially plausible.
No. No. Well, Kate always gets on me. She says I'm too hard on teenagers. And it's
This guy could be up to like 20 or 21.
I mean, he could be 20 or 21. I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to feel like lack of maturity, but what it feels like is the first time this mediocre white dude who's semi-intelligent has ever been challenged in his entire life. Like, challenged in that someone won't give him what he wants, and he doesn't know how to compute that. I want to talk to my parents. Well, you can't talk to your parents. Well, what the fuck can't I talk to my parents? Instead of, okay, well, then what is the situation? And they're like, okay, can you still not feel your legs?
One thing I really like about this movie is the slowness of the reveal of the actual like alien influence.
Yeah, that it actually is alien. I mean, we get the whoop, and then we get the cool, like they wheel in the like the VCR cart, and they show that video with the alien face in the tree. That freaked me out. I don't know. People watching you and you don't know they're watching you. You want to freak me out? That freaked me out. That was probably the scariest part of the movie for me, was the like, there was something there. And had our computer TV been working better, I would have gone back and watched the original video, but it was like, no, go to bed. So that part was actually kind of scary. And the intermix of, older and newer technology was supposed to feel unsettling. The fact that we've grounded this pretty solidly in 2014 with the smartphones and the laptops. But then he's using pen and paper, VCR cart, landline telephone. You know what plotline never came to fruition was, what was the thing that ate the cow?
Did it actually eat the cow?
Well, the cow was
Or it was in the room with the cow?
Well, the cow was like disappearing around the corner, like it was being pulled. Okay. And then it escaped. Yeah. And so he tries to escape while it's on the loose. And then he comes down the hallway and there's 2 marks along the side of the hallway.
I was thinking that might have been Jonah.
I mean, I guess it could have been Jonah. Did they try to feed Jonah a cow? Were they like...
that might have been another experiment.
What's he going to do with the cow? Because he comes in and the lights turn off. Like the thing has turned the lights off.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back on, the cow is like disappearing around a corner. And then they're like, the subject is on the loose. Like the subject is broken free.
Yeah.
But no one seems particularly worried about it. I guess because the whole thing is a prison. So it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, well, we don't really clear up like what that was.
Yeah.
I don't know. We meet Jonah later, and he got the bullshit power. Let me tell you that much.
Power hands.
Power hands? What the fuck?
But he can do like the shockwave punch the ground thing.
Yeah, but he can't type.
Right, which was his superpower.
Right. I mean, the one kid who couldn't walk, they gave him new legs. Well, okay, that makes sense. But the kid that was perfectly fine, they were like, I don't know, fuck it, his hands. Whatever, just take those. It's fine.
He wears glasses. Let's not fix that.
Let's not fix that. Oh, no. Let's not even give him better glasses. Let's just give him monster hands. That's fine. It's fine. Whatever. It's fine. I don't know. We're supposed to not know if they're talking through the vent or if they are talking through the vent, which doesn't make a lot of sense because he says he can't feel his arms, just like Nick can't feel his legs. So now we know Jonah probably has replaced arms. And then he says his glasses are broken, and we meet him later. His glasses are broken. So he clearly actually was talking to the vent, unless Jonah was never real and then the construct of him had broken glasses and hand. But we don't explore that fully enough.
I think the saying that Jonah wasn't real was just psychological manipulation.
Oh, okay. I mean, we don't explore it enough. Like, we don't, you know what I mean? We have all these really great concepts where you could have really unsettled me
Right.
in what
There's
was
all
reality.
these hooks where exploring it would have increased his feeling of disconnection
Yeah.
from reality.
Right. And our feeling of disconnection from reality
Yes.
in the movie, but we don't explore it fully enough to really. That's why I'm saying, like, was trying to do what, like, Event Horizon or Pandorum did. But, or even Dark City, where Dark City is
Right.
creating this sense of what is real, what is not real.
But it does that by exploring the weirdness.
right.
By actually giving us details about the inhabitants.
Right.
Or about the
We actually get nothing.
entities that are manipulating this.
We get nothing because our main character is so combative and uncooperative. We don't get any good dialogue. We just get Lawrence Fishburne trying to connect Damon trying to connect, and Nick being like, well, you're an idiot and I fucking hate you. Okay, well,
Let me see my girlfriend.
why don't you cooperate to try to draw some more information out? And there's that whole speech that he gives where he's like, well, where do you think your girlfriend is? And he's like, back down the wall, or no, the clock. Why are all the clocks broken? And he's like, what clock is broken? And he goes, back down the hallway with 4 doors on the left and 3 doors on the right, and then 2 turns left.
Gives
and then
exact directions.
get the fuck out. I didn't need your knowledge dick whipped out and waggled in my face. That's okay. I get to the real smart character. Get it, okay? Like, stop. A really smart character is going to analyze the situation and work through it. What you're giving me
Read
is
the room. This is the, I think, typical intelligence versus wisdom dynamic.
Yeah.
Where he's very far on the intelligence scale, but really low on the
wisdom scale.
wisdom scale.
I just feel like if we'd shaken this character up, made him a little bit more manipulative and a little bit less combative, because this character has one emotion from immediately. As soon as Nomad emails them, are you agitated? He's agitated for the remainder of the movie. There is no other emotion.
We need to channel some Catherine Tate. I ain't bothered.
He's either agitated and sad. He's agitated and confused. He's agitated and agitated. He's agitated. And then they show that picture with his face. And I was like, oh, look at that. That's the same face he's been making this entire movie. And then they pan back to him.
And he's making the same expression.
He's making the same face. And then the next 3 scenes, he's making the same face. And then every time we pan in on his eyes, he's doing the like intense lowered eye thing. Like, I'm really angry and I'm really, really smart. You can tell by the way I'm glaring at you. Okay. And then we have Haley, who could have been a really interesting character, but at this point, she is literally so superfluous. She's unconscious unless she's
for
talking.
the rest of the movie.
Well, she's
except
unconscious
for a couple scenes
for part of it. And then we need her to interact with him. Like
so
a
she
little
wakes
bit.
up.
So she wakes up and she's like, I had a dream. You won the regionals. And then she goes back to Coma Land. And then he escapes with her by using his robot power legs. And as soon as they get out of the bunker, she's like, good morning, because we needed her now. He couldn't carry her. That'd be a boring movie. So she needed to be awake, which he does not question at all. He's like, oh, good. She's awake now.
That's lucky. She woke up just when
Hot
we
damn.
got out.
Perfect timing. Thank
Just
you,
when
Haley.
it would have gotten difficult for me to continue to transport her on the gurney.
Right. And so they go to a truck stop. Well, no, they get in a car and she falls asleep again because we don't need her right now. So she passes out. And he has that conversation with that woman. And I was like, oh my God, it's like riding in the car with my mother.
Yes,
My mother.
I really appreciated this character.
Can you hear them? You have to listen with your mouth open.
Like this. Okay, so this is...
That's the best character in the whole movie. Her.
Yeah, I think that is the most compelling character in the entire movie.
Yeah.
And she really starts to establish, like, shit's weird here.
Yeah.
But they just go along with it.
Right. And Lawrence Fishburne is like, if you go out, I won't be able to protect you from them. I can only protect you down here, which we don't ever, that never comes back. That's gone. I hoped you liked that line because, whoop, that's gone. And then they're highly contagious, but we don't know what they're contagious with. And Lawrence Fishburne has that giant case that he carries around. He finally opens the case, and it's just a single handgun in the middle of this case.
A handgun where the trigger guard is way too narrow for his gloved finger to fit through.
Shh, 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 shh. No. That's not that movie. We already established that.
Yeah.
So they go to the truck stop, and wouldn't you know it, we need Haley to advance the plot again. So she wakes up, and then she gets in the cab of the truck. He's like, sit here. Don't move. I got stuff I got to do. So he goes to talk to the people in the truck stop, try to get a map, try to figure out where they are. Meanwhile, she just gets up and climbs in the cab of the truck, and then the truck drives off. And so then he has to chase this truck down.
Well, he gets on the payphone, and he picks up the payphone, and every time he picks up the payphone, it says, like, this line is...
No, it says this network is unavailable.
Right, but if he's such a hacker... If he's such a great hacker, he should be knowledgeable about the history of hacking. And he should know about the, like, Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Like, whistle, long distance phone hacking stuff. Yeah. And he should know that when you pick up a payphone, you should hear a dial tone. You don't immediately hear a voice response. You have to connect to somewhere else to hear the voice response.
It's never going to tell you this network is unavailable. You're just not going to get a dial tone.
Right.
It's not a cell phone. That's not how those work.
But that may be just a lack.
Or you got the boo, boo, boop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That may be just a lack
The caller you have dialed is out of service.
Expertise of the people helping write the script. But they got the first part right. With Nmap.
I don't know. They've probably never interacted with a payphone.
Maybe all the real hackers were too nerdy.
You know what? It's probably like my niece. Okay, so I know I bring my niece up a lot. And poor Gracie is actually a really nice person, so I don't want you to feel like she's not. However, she's very Gen Z, so she gives me a lot to work with. So she has a friend who is very goth. Neo-goth, I don't know what they call them. The new ones, you know, the young ones where they're trying to be like we were when we were young. Very goth. And I was like, oh, have you seen The Crow? Because to me, that's the goth manifesto. It's grunge rock. It's dark.
It's the entire aesthetic.
That's it, y'all. Like, The Crow is goth. Like, you watched that as a young goth and you were like, this is my entire personality now.
These are my people.
These are my people. And so I was like, okay, well, you want to be like a 90s goth. That's like your aesthetic. I'm here for it. That's fine. I would have loved to do that too, had I been allowed to wear the color black. But have you seen The Crow? And they're like, The Crow.
Rachel says this as she's wearing black shorts and a black t-shirt.
This is because I'm what is it called?
You're a liberated woman.
Well, this is, when you're a child, you're not allowed to do something, and then when you grow up, you do it as a way of like exploring it the way you would have as a child. It's called like reparentification. That's why a lot of older adults get stuffies and things where you weren't allowed to have them as a child, so you have to go through that. You want to go through that period of exploring what it would have been like as a child to be able to have that or to do those things that you were restricted from doing. That's why I'm wearing black. But anyway, no, I haven't seen The Crow. I was like, well, you have to see it. That's like, and they're like, is it an old movie? Like, I don't know. It's from the 90s. Like, you guys, you're all about the 90s. It's from the 90s. And they're like, oh, no, we don't watch old movies.
Oops.
Okay. So that's probably what happened. They were like, I don't know. Nobody who watches this is going to know how a payphone works. It's fine. Who cares? No one's going to know about the Captain Crunch whistle. Half the people listening to this are probably like, the fuck is a Captain Crunch whistle?
Just Google it. Captain Crunch hacker.
Yep.
Yep.
So
you'll get the whole story.
That's my feeling about that. We go from there to we finally...
Yeah, that for a master hacker like him, like he's portrayed, if he picked up the phone and that happened, that should have been a big red flag that, hold up, I'm not on a standard network.
He doesn't do old hacks. Is that from the 90s? So they end up getting this truck.
Old hacks.
Old hacks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The structure of how computers work for like on Linux, Unix, BSD, whatever systems
Yeah.
is all based on stuff that was written in the 1970s.
Yeah.
So the fundamental like way you think about how these things operate is all built on top of how things were structured
Yeah. On computers.
on computers.
Yeah.
He's a master computer hacker.
Right. But he's not a phone hacker. That's an old hack. I'm just doing it to poke you now.
I know.
All right. So we end up in the semi, and then we end up at a visitor center.
Well, this is when he first uses the power legs.
Yeah, the power legs, because he chases down
They
the.
make him run real fast.
I guess he runs after the semi, and Matt and I decided that canonically they must replace some of the muscles in the upper part of his leg because otherwise, it doesn't make his thighs stronger.
Right. It wouldn't having the legs attached, the alien tech legs attached
Yeah.
where they are. Most of the thrust
Yeah,
that you get running comes from your hips
and your butt.
and your butt.
Glutes.
And if his like top of his femurs and his pelvis are all still just vanilla human biology,
Right.
if he tried to run like that, the knees would extend more powerfully and just flip him over on his head.
Right.
So his
Musculature.
his kinetic chain
Yeah.
up to his like core needs to be replaced.
Right. Although probably the best scene in the movie is when he finds out about his robot legs and he immediately checks his dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you thank God.
Totally.
Oh,
Yep.
poor Jonah.
That's a good point.
God
From the
damn it.
experience of a like horny like 20-ish year old. It's gonna be like, well, I can't use these,
Yeah.
or
These look like good,
the,
strong hands, don't they?
these are not gonna be useful for what I need to use them for.
I can't type. I can't masturbate. The fuck are these things? All I can do is punch stuff really hard. Super punch. Yeah. Anyway, we end up at this visitor center and there's a map. And I love how Haley is immediately like, okay, I'm not needed anymore. So she just leaves. Because he's trying to figure out the map. And he's like, well, we came down this way. And we came to here and the road stopped. And there was a big canyon. And I know there was a bridge. We had to have a bridge to be able to get here. So blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. We meet up
I
with
felt
Jonah
like
here.
when I get stuck, I get fixated on a particular thing when we need to be doing something else. And you're like, Matt, come on, stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
We need to go do this other thing. And I need you to come with me and help. And I'm like, no, I just need a few more minutes to fiddle with this and get it working. And so you just leave.
Yeah.
That's how I felt in this scene.
Oh, when Haley's just like, I'm going to go.
She's like, you're
I'll see ya."
obviously we can't rely on the maps here.
Yeah.
It's all just a construct. Why are you
Bothering with this.
bothering with this? It's unreasonable for you to expect that the maps in the constructed place that's designed to keep us trapped are going to like give you
accurate?
useful information on how to escape the construct.
Yeah, and then we had a scene here where somebody's sneaking up on the visitor center, and I thought they had a gun. I don't know. A lot happened, and then all of a sudden it was just
I think
Jonah.
it was them sneaking up on James's place.
Oh,
The guy who owned the semi.
gotcha.
And I think it was one of those things
Where
where
they were trying to confuse you. Well, I
Yeah.
got confused.
yeah.
Because they end up, at this point, Lawrence Fishburne is just shooting everybody who has contact
Yeah,
with them.
we're
Did he?
cutting between them surrounding a building,
Yeah.
covering all the openings in the building with plastic. Damon is there,
Yeah.
but then through that whole sequence, we're cutting back to Nick and Haley
Yeah.
at the visitor center, And then Damon cuts through the plastic and walks in the door. And instead of cutting back to the visitor center, or we do cut back to the visitor center, but nothing's happening. And then we
Right.
cut back to Damon, and he's confronting James, the semi driver.
Correct. And then he ends up shooting him because,
Yeah, these must be all the failed abductions.
yeah, maybe, or they've had them there so long they're going to, we don't explain it.
Yeah.
We don't explain
No
it.
explanation.
No explanation.
Which I appreciate leaving open, leaving loose ends like that. As long as as long as we're explaining some loose ends.
Did we?
But I don't think we explained any loose
Did
ends.
we?
This was a movie of loose ends.
Yeah, you got to give me something so I feel like I wish I'd had more instead of giving me nothing. And then I'm like, I don't care. I'm checked out now.
Yeah, it's like in psychology.
Yeah.
There's a foundational experiment, whatever, with mice, like behaviorists, and they would take two mice, where one mouse is like 30% bigger.
Right.
And at that size difference, the bigger mice like to wrestle, like play.
Wrestle.
They like to wrestle each other. So at that size difference, the bigger mouse can always beat the smaller mouse.
Right.
But if the bigger mouse is always winning, then the smaller mouse will
stop.
refuse to play.
Yeah.
And so the bigger mouse needs to let the smaller mouse win about a third of the time so that the smaller mouse will continue engaging in invitations to play.
Yeah.
It's the same with plot hooks.
Yeah, you got to give me some wins.
You need to explain something at some point.
Even if it's not everything. I don't need everything.
Right. Maybe it may be the same 30%. You
Yeah.
need to feel like about a third of the time you're winning. You can handle 2 losses for every win.
Yeah.
Work with me.
Work with me here. Because immediately Jonah is like, well, this is all fake. Your tattoo means Area 51. We've been abducted. This is all shit. Look, these cans are empty. There's only one road out. We're going to take your semi and get out of here. Somehow. We're going to get out of Area 51. None of these extremely intelligent people have entertained the idea that they might not even be on Earth. I guess because
Right.
then there's no
they
escape.
have
so-
fundamental assumptions about where they are.
I mean, it makes sense. You have to have that to believe you can get out. And if you don't
Right.
have that, you're trapped forever. So what's the point in even fighting? You might as well go back to just angry glaring at Lawrence Fishburne. So they get in the semi, and of course they put Haley in the back seat again because she's basically cargo. What's the point? that's her entire like function.
She's the passenger princess.
Yeah, well, she's not even that because she's just sitting back there like, where are we going? What's happening? Because she's like confused or I don't know, whatever. So they end up driving. I don't know how they thought they were going to get through just by having the one guy in a spacesuit. Because Jonah's in a spacesuit and he's like, yeah, we're going to the other side. And they're like, okay, well, what
We
do you
have clearance to get through.
Yeah. Again, you guys are supposed to be like the most intelligent people in the room, so. But they just stop them with a single concrete thing that pops up. And they're like, you can't go any further. You need to get out of the car, whatever. I don't know. Chaos ensues. Jonah gets out. Jonah gets blown up, but he doesn't blow up because he comes out and gets shot. And apparently that's the thing that's going to kill him.
Well, even that doesn't stop him.
Yeah, that doesn't stop him because he's got power hands because then he punches the concrete.
Yeah, he
And
punches
then-
the concrete pillar, the pylon that's holding the truck.
Right. And then he does the like shockwave pound with his fists, which might have had more impact if it had at any point not been in slow motion or had sound or I don't know. Choices were made there and it just kind of lessened the impact of what we were going for. And in the end, they get caught by Lawrence Fishburne and literally smartest person in the room, Nick, who just called Damon an idiot like 30 plot minutes ago, finally realizes that Damon is nomad backwards. He's like,
This is
that's nomad backwards. No shit, Sherlock.
there was a Dan Brown book called Deception Point,
Yeah.
where they did basically the same thing. There was a guy that was in this organization that left on bad terms. And then sometime later, oh no, a hacker is getting into our systems.
Oh no.
And here's their name. And yeah, it was like, the hacker's like handle was N Dakota. And the guy that left, his last name was Tancado. You didn't figure that out? Like, it was pretty obvious as soon as they mentioned
God damn, it's
Tancado,
brilliant.
this guy that designed this system and then left the organization on bad terms. I was like, N Dakota, Tancado. Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Yet another, the smartest person in the room didn't realize
Yeah.
like an acronym
Yes.
or scrambling the letters.
I know.
Okay.
And then they take Haley, they put her in a helicopter, and that off. And Nick is like, I don't want to go.
I'm real sad.
I'm real sad and
Okay,
agitated.
So here's another loose end. When they're in the car with the crazy lady that listens with her mouth open, face up to the sky,
Yeah.
she looks at Nick and says, remember, push from the inside out. And I think that's supposed to be like advice on how to use the alien tech
No,
stuff.
that's how he gets out, because he runs out the wall.
You think so?
Yeah.
I thought it
think
was
it's-
more
no,
of
I
like
think
an
it's-
internal feeling of how you use the
No,
alien
I think
tech.
you're looking for a scalpel when what we got was a hammer. Because he takes off and he
We got a rubber mallet.
he breaks the sound barrier. Should he be able to breathe while running that fast?
He doesn't need to breathe.
Okay, all right, fine. So he runs really fast away from Lawrence Fishburne because he's like, and so he runs off and
He hits a wall traveling at supersonic velocity, and
does not liquefy.
he does not liquefy. So
It's fine.
So the alien tech must have penetrated farther than just his thighs. This reinforces my theory
Yeah.
that the alien tech is only visible below the mid thigh,
Yeah.
but it actually penetrates through the entire top of the thigh up into the hip and probably up into the spine.
Yeah.
And it probably goes farther
Must.
inside his body for him to not liquefy when he hits a wall.
Well, he breaks through the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so he gets through the wall on the other side, and it's Dark City. It's a floating bubble in space with this simulated city inside of it.
Yeah. Every time Rachel was speculating about what's going on, I kept wanting to say, no, it's Dark City.
It's dark. It's like the not as interesting version of Dark City. And then he turns around, and Lawrence Fishburne is walking up to him, and he's like, "Oh yes, the perfect confluence of human will and alien technology. You are our greatest creation." And then he like takes his helmet off. He takes his helmet off, and he looks side to side, exclusively to show that he was only a face this entire time. There's nothing on the other side of him. He's just like, look at the back of my head.
Which
Isn't that cool?
is,
Look at the back of my
it's
head.
a movement. It's the same head side to side movement that he did multiple times earlier in the movie. And you criticized, why do they always move their heads in slow motion when they're wearing a suit like that?
Yeah. Oh, because he's a slow
Because
motion robot.
It's like, I don't know. This is how he moves his head, and it's
I
a
guess.
constant thing.
Maybe he's got gyroscopes in there, and it's hard for him to
He
turn.
can only move his head so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to turn that, so he's got two gyroscopes going, like that one BattleBot that has two to cancel out the gyroscopic turn. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, that's the big reveal. And honestly, at that point in the movie, I was like, oh, okay, that's great. I don't know. This was not the outing that Love was. I feel like Love, I remembered years later. I was like, oh, what was that one movie we watched where it was a Civil War
Love
guy?
was a lot more introspective.
Yeah, Love had a lot more to say. I didn't think this movie said anything. I think it was just
It was
like,
entertaining.
it was like, look at
This
my power legs and my power hands and shit. Isn't that cool?
right, and we see the same like white alien material, whatever, sticking out of Haley's spine,
Yeah.
but we don't ever
We don't cut
investigate
no.
that.
We don't talk about that. We don't.
Maybe there was plans for more of that.
Was there? I don't
I'm-
know. William
just
Eubank
speculating.
didn't write this one alone. This is like a team of writers that wrote this one. Maybe that's why the plot feels confusing. It doesn't feel like a singular vision.
Yeah, it's like narrative by committee.
Yeah, I get where they were trying to go, and like mad props for how good it looks. The legs look great. The hands look great. All the scenes look amazing.
In 2014,
Yeah.
this was like cutting edge.
This was good.
Like the motion capture CG
yeah,
replacing his legs so that they're see-through,
right.
which it's a fixed camera angle, so that's not. At the time, that was
Still cool.
cutting edge.
I love how they get around it. They have him wrap up his legs.
Yes,
So you
yeah.
can't see him. He's like, oh, get them out
And
of my
they-
sight.
I really appreciate how they incorporate that into the plot. That
Yeah.
he's suffering when he looks at his legs.
Yeah.
So he covers them up so that he doesn't have to like be traumatized
Right.
by
No,
it.
it works out great. And
Yes.
it saves them money. So bang, bang. Great. Love it. Choices
Yes.
were made. They were good choices.
Win-win.
I just feel like the plot wasn't where I wanted it to be. But it doesn't mean that it's not for somebody else. It just means this isn't my favorite character type. I'm never going to like this movie.
Yeah.
I'm never going to like that. There is one movie that I like where the main character is the asshole, semi-intelligent, not maybe middle class, but white dude, mediocre white dude who, whatever. And that's Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool. That's fine. He's good. I like that character. Matt Damon's character is great. This character,
Because he actually grows.
yeah, he has more than one emotion. He has "How do you like them apples," which is one of my favorite scenes. I got her number. How do you like them apples? But this was not my favorite character. I think if his direction was to be agitated the entire time, then he did a fabulous job. If they were hoping for nuance, well, we didn't get that. Haley did fine during the time she was conscious to move the plot forward, which was her sole purpose in this entire movie. We had a very limited number of sets, which worked out great. They basically just rented some tiled rooms for a couple of days and roamed about in them. Although going into the bathroom and there being no doors on the stall was...
That was a nice effect.
Yeah.
To be like, this facility is not built to convenience you.
Yeah.
This facility is built to keep you observed.
Right.
Yeah.
That I thought was interesting. They definitely tried. They were like, okay, here's some unsettling elements. Let's throw you in these unsettling elements and see where that gets you. I just don't think it was unsettling as they wanted it to be.
Right.
I don't think it had the impact they were hoping it would have, at least not on me. Did you like it the first time you watched through it?
I was entertained the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
I think for this kind of movie, I can enjoy it more than you because I'm more willing to just fill in the gaps on
Yeah.
the world building,
That's true.
and I'll just make shit up in my head about, oh yeah, they didn't bother with this because maybe something like this happened.
Right.
I can rationalize my way through the loose ends.
Correct.
It's harder now because I'm a more introspective person now than I used to be.
Right.
And so I notice the loose ends are more obvious to me now as, wait, they didn't actually explain that.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's like a personal, like self-development thing, or if it's like a just skill problem-solving development that from, career-wise. But yeah, those kind of lapses are more visible to me now than they were 9 years ago.
Okay. I don't know. Kate and Hannah do the same thing where we'll be reading a book and they're like, no, this is the backstory for that. And I'm like, well, that's not in the book. That you made that up. I need it. I don't need it given to me. I want it. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. I can fill that in if I want to, but the point is I don't want to. I want you to tell me what your thoughts were. I want you to create a fully fleshed out narrative so that I don't have to fill in the gaps for you.
Right. That's the writer's job.
Yeah. To me, that's the writer's job. And I will do, I mean, I'll put up with a fair amount of, okay, I didn't get an answer to that. That's fine. Or we abandoned that plot line. That's cool.
There's a loose end about these other people that just live in this world.
Right.
Where did they come from?
There were a bunch of people at the truck stop.
Yeah.
Did they go and kill every single person at the truck stop?
I'm perfectly okay with
not knowing
like NPCs' backstories.
Right.
But
you know
maybe
what I wanted?
some more, I think some shots or some scenes of Damon and the other like suited people
actually
interacting with each other when they think they're not being observed by Nick or Jonah. That would have really fleshed out. Like, oh, here's some hints. Here's them just discussing what's going on with Nick and Jonah and Haley, whatever.
Right.
And they don't need to actually say anything, but just throw in some implications,
or even eerily them all hanging out and not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And
just like sitting down in a room together and not even like looking at each other.
Right. And I think what would have helped is to actually have productive conversations between Nick and Damon. Because
and then we could switch to like a Damon, like other suited people where they contradict what Damon told Nick.
Right.
Or they reinforce it, but in a suspiciously, kind of over the top way.
Right. We could have had some good we don't have a lot of good dialogue, and we all know I'm a sucker for good dialogue. And we don't get a lot of we don't actually have that much dialogue at all. And what we do have is pretty sparse because it's mostly Nick having a little baby hissy fit and then Damon going, oh, come on, Nick, don't be like that. When we could have had I think we get one cool line, which was, you came out there looking for something. What you have to ask yourself is, did you find what you were looking for? We could have gotten more like that.
Yeah.
And that would have been great. Like in Pandorum, where we get so much cryptic dialogue, it really pushes the plot forward. Because we finally meet a guy and he tells like the creation story of the ship. And it finally puts you in this like, holy shit, how long have they been down here?
Yeah.
How much of that is true? Like what actually happened? What is that? How does that correspond to like real events? You get enough that you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm in this. We just read that book. By Halden B. Doyle. It's actually 4 novellas. And you don't get a lot of clarification on anything, but each character interaction gives you just enough that you're willing to go to the next character interaction to see if you get a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's like breadcrumbs that pull you.
The character development and the chemistry.
Yeah.
When it works is so compelling.
And the information breadcrumbs pull you through the narrative. If there's no breadcrumbs, I don't have a trail to follow. I'm just going to sit down by this tree and fall asleep. So I think we just lacked breadcrumbs. And I think that it did not make it feel like I wanted to keep watching this movie because there was no mystery that I felt I was trying to solve. It was just like, okay, this character is just going to be an asshole. Okay, this guy's not going to let me figure anything out. He's not a good audience stand-in. Because he doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but he clearly doesn't care what's going on. He just wants to get out. So, okay. But I guess we'll leave it at that. We're going to go and do William Eubank's Underwater next. And I think that one might have been like 80 million. I'll look it up before we start.
I think you said 20.
Yeah, so he's going to get another
big bump.
Big bump. So good for him. I'm excited. It's got Kristen Stewart in it. And I'm here for the renaissance of Kristen Stewart. I think it's totally unfair that she's continually judged by how shitty she is in Twilight.
Right. It's like Robert Pattinson has worked real hard to distance himself from Twilight.
Yeah.
Like he just went and did stage stuff for a while.
Yeah.
just to stay out of like Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then since he's gotten back into Hollywood stuff, he's like, we all fucking hated Twilight.
He hated being in Twilight. I mean, poor Kristen. She was closeted. It was one of her first roles. She has to be this Pants, the character. Oh, that will explain that if we ever do Twilight. We'll do Twilight eventually. And she didn't get a lot to work with. And then everyone's like, well, she was a dish rag. She was a terrible character. We're like, well, that's
No, she did a good job portraying the character as written.
That's Bella in the book, guys. That's Bella from the book. But that's a hot take. There's still people out there who
she was good in Zathura.
Wasn't she the asshole sister in Zathura?
Yeah, it was a convincing character.
Yeah, she was a good asshole character. What was she in immediately after that? Jumper? Wasn't she? She had like a bit part in Jumper with Hayden Christensen. Yeah, she's like the child of his mother. When he finally finds his mother, she answers the door.
Oh, yes, she is. Yeah. Yeah, she's in the movie for like 10 seconds or something.
Right, and she played Diana, Princess Di, in a movie. So she's gone on.
I haven't seen anything in the last few years with her.
She's been in stuff. Yeah, she's been in some really big stuff.
She's been in stuff, but I haven't.
She's been doing like Robert Pattinson, where for a while he just stayed in the indie scene. Yeah, he stayed in the like cool biopics, cool like edgy movie scene, and then he came back for Batman. And everyone was like, oh, great. Edward's going to be Batman. Like, guys, he's done stuff since then. Can we all just move on, please? He worked with Willem Dafoe. I'm pretty sure Willem Dafoe will vet anybody. So good to go. He played in The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe.
Yes. I really want to watch that movie.
Yeah. We'll do that eventually, too. But we'll leave it here. We're going to watch Underwater, and then we will report back. Hopefully it's a lot better. Hopefully it's more like Love. I'm chasing that Love high.
So, okay, let's say in summary.
Okay, you want to summarize. Go.
This movie was entertaining.
Yes.
The special effects were really good.
Yes.
Especially considering the time period and the budget.
He's very good at utilizing his budget.
Yes.
Yes.
We saw consistent themes and I guess styles of filming.
Yes.
Where we get slow motion in the scenes that he's really trying to emphasize the impact.
Right.
And what else? Flashing lights.
But we didn't feel like the narrative themes were fully explored or had the payoff they were hoping they would have.
Right.
Yeah.
I think in Love, we really had the emotional and experiential exploration.
Well, I think Love was so different, you don't come to it with anything.
Yes. Love was so out there.
It was so out there, you just enjoy it for what it is.
This kind of fits into some expectations.
Right. You're a sci-fi nerd. You know this one. This is the unsettled alien abduction movie.
Yeah.
Something has happened in space, and now I'm going to be freaked out about it for an hour and 45 minutes until I figure out whatever that is. This is Event Horizon. It's Pandorum. It's Dark City. It's all of those.
Yeah.
Main character dropped in a fishbowl. What's going to happen?
But we didn't get to actually explore any of the details of what this like floating space station-y thing is, why it's there, why there are human-faced things running experiments on humans.
Yeah.
Exploring just kind of one path into backstory about what's driving this whole operation.
Right.
Would have really reinforced this movie.
Right.
And having Haley do anything other than just
sleep or
would have
get into shenanigans that drives the plot forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So, entertaining movie.
Yeah, it was entertainment. It was fine.
Yeah. Considering the context, well done movie. Well executed.
I don't feel immediately compelled to rewatch it. That doesn't mean I won't someday.
Right.
But I'm not like, ooh, that was good. I want to share that with a friend.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the Underwater.
Yeah.
Did he write Underwater or did he just direct it?
We will find out in the episode.
All right. Await it next week.
Oh, yeah.
Until next time. Oh.
Too many podcasts.
So remember, sometimes the strangest things are the most beautiful too.
So be who you are and love what you love. Until next time, friends.
Bye.